Hi, it's Nick and Amy with KLASS Cosmetics. We're going to be doing kind of a fun little demo today together with our Airbrush foundation system that KLASS Cosmetics carries. So there's a lot of misconception on Airbrush. There is consumers, professionals, and even, students in cosmetology schools that think Airbrush Cosmetics is very dramatic, heavy, and only the Hollywood elite can use the airbrush. Well, we're here to tell you today, Airbrush Cosmetics is just like a second skin for your skin. You can either get a light coverage or you can get a full coverage with our Airbrush foundation system. It is water-based, transfer resistant, and it is oil-free. So that is the awesome thing about our airbrush, and it's also hypoallergenic. And the best thing about Airbrush is it's the most sanitary way to apply your airbrush, or not your airbrush, your liquid foundation. It is the most sanitary way because you are using an airbrush gun. You're not touching the liquid at all that applies to the face. So it's a very sanitary way, especially if you suffer from breakouts. Airbrush can be really good for you. Is this oil-free? Okay. Should we get started, Amy?
I think we should.
Would you add anything on Airbrush? Amy is also a makeup artist here. She is a very, very, very good professional makeup artist for bridal. If you want to check out her work, she's amazing. So we're going to use her as a demo. She's amazing. What would you add about Airbrush?
I love KLASS's airbrush system. I use it exclusively in my kit for all of my clients, and for my work I do bridal, I do commercial, and I do special event work. So for me, it covers a wide range. It photographs beautifully, so if you were looking to capture something on video or by camera, this is going to be the way to go. And I also use it for myself on a regular basis, and it is flawless. You are going to love it.
Okay, you guys, let's dig right in and get into this airbrush, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so now onto the fun part, because this is where all the artistry starts to begin and where all the fun happens. So this is our airbrush foundation system as shown here in the video. This is our KLASS airbrush system. It has 3 speeds, and you can change those speeds by clicking on the KLASS logo there in the middle of the machine. This is our nice gun with the huge barrel that we have with KLASS Cosmetics here. But first, we're going to start out with some skin prep. You can see my palette here. I love to use a stainless steel palette when we are working on clients, as well as when anyone is out in the fields. We always like to use these palettes for very sanitary and obvious reasons to keep sanitary with your kit. So we have, here's our Pore Perfecting Primer. This one is going to even out Amy's complexion once we get the skincare prep on her face. We're going to be using the vitamin C serum as shown here, along with our vitamin C eye treatment, okay? So we're going to start out with adding the eye cream first, because you want to put the most delicate skincare thing around the face first before we get started. We're just going to start just like this. And I like to use disposable sponges when working, so you can usually just throw them away, not have to worry about cleaning any implements. You just throw these little suckers right away, and they're only about a penny a piece, so works out well.
It feels so good on.
And yes, the vitamin C eye treatment, that one does have a cooling effect, so it's going to give your client the awakening. It has a little bit of caffeine in it to stimulate blood flow, as well as a little bit of hyaluronic acid to plump right underneath those eyes, especially if you have a bride in the morning, or you have a client, or let's say you're a stay-at-home mom, or even a working mom at home. Whatever you're doing, it's going to wake you right up like you just had a little bit of a Starbucks drink. Okay, and so now we're going to go right into the face primer here. And this is our Pore Perfecting Face Primer. So what this is going to do to Amy is going to even out her skin tone, and it's also going to provide a perfect canvas for the airbrush foundation to settle right over, so it does not settle into any of the fine lines or any of the crevices in her face. It just smooths everything all out. This down. There we go. And Amy, I know this is one of Amy's favorite products, so why is this your favorite product, Amy?
The Pore Perfecting Primer?
Yes.
It literally works on almost every skin tone, texture, condition that is out there. I literally can use this on just about anybody, and it helps give the skin just a flawless canvas for the makeup to really adhere to, and creates also that nice barrier to protect your skin as well.
Okay. I totally agree. So next we're going to use our dual action concealer as shown in this video here. This dual action concealer is a very, very advanced concealer. It actually has tetrapeptide 5 as well as some anti-aging serums in it, along with that kind of sprouty caffeine that we've been talking about that's in our vitamin C eye cream. This one is going to brighten the eyes underneath. We're going to use a little bit of a custom mixture for Amy. We're going to use a little bit of a light peach. So when you use light peach, that is going to brighten underneath the eyes and kind of color correct underneath the eyes, as you can see down here. We're going to do a little bit of a color correction. It's really early here in Wisconsin, so we're going to give Amy a little bit of a awakening here. And we're going to use the medium concealer too to kind of even out her tone there so we don't have very much of a peach showing as well, okay? So I'm just taking these two shades here and mixing them on my palette. I have a lot more than I need. You'll never need this much on your palette. I'm just going to show you for video purpose so you can see that I'm mixing these two together here to create kind of a custom concealer shade for Amy. Now when we apply concealer, it's going to look very thick at the beginning, but once we get to the end, you'll see what we mean. Okay. So you're going to create kind of like a triangle. I always like to do this no matter what the client's age. It's going to kind of look very dramatic. But when you're creating a triangle like this, you're going to highlight underneath the eye area. So when your airbrush, when you get done with your airbrush, it'll kind of look like you contoured underneath the eye with a little bit of cream before you start. Because you always want the eyes underneath to be the brightest, especially when you're doing more of a dramatic eye, because you want anyone that's going to be, admiring, looking at your cosmetics, your makeup, you want them to go to the eyes and kind of seeing where all the work that you did is on the eyes. As you can see, Amy did kind of more of a dramatic look this morning, so we're going to make sure everyone notices that today. So she kind of looks a little crazy. I think you'd all agree, right? Everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's so much makeup. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you.
And you barely feel it on your skin.
So next, we're going to take that sponge that we used to apply her primer, her vitamin C serum, and her eye cream, and we're going to reuse that sponge on her, so we're just going to easily blend that out. So we're just going to dab it right out, because if you use a dry sponge, you're going to suck up everything that you put down. So we're going to be using here, perfect, because it's going to blend it all out. Awesome, we'll do the other eye here. You're just going to blend it all out here. See how it's all blending in. Awesome. So it looks right at the end. Perfect. Awesome. So you have those eyes nice and highlighted. You can't even tell that we have makeup underneath her eyes because we used a wet sponge. Again, the trick is you have to use a wet sponge, no matter if it's water or if it's the serums you use. I always like to prefer to use the skincare that you've been using right underneath there, and it's perfect. Awesome. So she is ready for the next fun step, which is the airbrush application. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be mixing a few shades with her. So we're going to use shade 30 here. This is one of our airbrush foundations with our gun. And we're going to be mixing that with a few other shades actually, with shades, we're using 35 as well as shades 40 here as shown in the video. And why we're doing that, so when you're looking through our airbrush foundations online, the 5s are going to be more of the cools and the 0s are going to be more of the warm. So when you look at Amy's complexion here, she's got a little bit of warmness, she's got a little bit of cool going on, see a little bit of redness in the skin. So we're going to take that and kind of like be a little chemist with her, and we are going to create our own color with the airbrush foundation to get her a perfect match, okay? So I'm going to start with about, let's see here, about 10 drops of shade 30 here. Let's get this out of here. 30 is running a little low. There we go. Awesome. I'm going to get shade 40 here. I have the shade 40. I like to call this Spray Tan 40. This is one of my absolute favorite shades to use on someone during the summer, mixed with other colors, of course. This one's going to give them that really warmth summer glow that everyone is looking for without making them look like they have an orange line, because nobody wants that. And then the last but not least, we're going to be using shade 35 as shown here. And when you're going to be doing airbrush, it's very important to shake the airbrush before you use it, because it is a water-based formula, so you're going to want to make sure that you shake that up to make sure you have all of your mixture all shooken up very nicely for you. Okay, so the next little trick here, so we have the shades, if you can see in the barrel, I'm not sure if you can see there. We have all the shades in there, so they're not mixed. So what we're gonna do with that is we're gonna hold our finger over the lever here, and we're gonna push down on the gun here. Just push down, we'll start it, and you're gonna pull back, and it's gonna bubble just a little bit. You're scaring Amy a little bit. Try not to do that right over your client when you have it. But now you got it mixed in here, so it's just like you're a little chemist. The sound is really weird, I know. Okay, so once we're ready to start airbrush, it's important to not do that to your client, okay? So that means when you're pushing down, there's air coming out. When you're introducing it to your client, you want to introduce the air to his, her skin, so you make sure they're not flinching and they're not uncomfortable. And it is important to let your client know that it is okay to breathe lightly while you're getting airbrush application. You do not have to hold your breath. It is a non-toxic formula. I understand that you don't want to breathe it in, but if you need to breathe while you're doing this, either let us know, one of your artists know, or if you're doing this at home, you can always take a breath and then keep finishing, okay? We've had some people almost faint on us before. Okay. So when you start, you're gonna start from away, and I always like to start from the forehead. You're 6 to 8 inches away from the face, and you're gonna start in circular motions, and you're just gonna start really, really, really easy. Because you're gonna do one light coverage around the face, because if you stay too long in one area, you're gonna get a big, huge complexion issue, and we're gonna keep going here. And you're gonna try and tilt her head back. You're just gonna get underneath there. Nobody likes that underneath look here. And just keep going circular motion, 6 to 8 inches away from the face. And you can start to see it building now that we're doing the second coat. So the first coat's a very light application. The second coat is usually where all the magic happens, where you're gonna wanna see the coverage and kind of the desired amount of coverage that everyone kind of wants in their application. Remember, we only use about 18 drops in this. For a full application, that's about what you're going to need in a coverage. You tilt your head back from me, Amy. Awesome. We're gonna make sure we get down here. You always want to go down to the neckline. Perfect. So now we're gonna let that dry for a little bit on our beautiful Amy, and we're gonna go in with powdering next, okay? Okay, so our next step is going to be setting that airbrush with our Baked Hydrating Powder Foundation. It is the beloved favorite here at KLASS Cosmetics. We're actually gonna be relaunching this formula here this fall. Right now we have light, medium, and medium in stock through the summer, and this fall we'll be relaunching the shade brains. As it is a hydrating powder, it has jojoba oil in it, so it's very conditioning for the skin without making it look very oily. Okay, so what we're gonna do on Amy is we're just gonna set it into her skin here. Very lightly. And then one of the most important things when you're doing airbrush is not to drag on the skin like this. You're gonna wanna dab it into the skin when you're doing airbrush, so you can get you wanna keep that airbrush finish. Once you start going like this with the face, you're gonna start getting streaks in the airbrush, and you might jeopardize the coverage of the airbrush, which is very hard to fix once you have it all set here. Okay, so now we're gonna go right underneath Amy's eye. We're just gonna blend everything out underneath there. So just wanna make sure your client's eyes are nice and highlighted underneath here. And you can see I'm not really dragging this brush underneath here. I'm just double setting it in. A little bit more here, just set it right in there. Awesome. Okay, next we're gonna do a little bronzer on Amy. So we're gonna be using one of my absolute favorite brushes from KLASS Cosmetics. This is our angled blush brush. So this one is one of my absolute favorite brushes just because it is angled, it's easy to get a very nice contoured look. So with that, we're gonna contour with a little bit of our Genesis bronzer here that we have. So we're gonna start right here from the corner, right underneath the cheekbone. So Amy, do the duck lips for me. Okay, so I always like to show people, because when you're doing blush, you want the blush to go here where the highlight is going to be, and you want your darker shade to go right here on the indent of the cheek. So sometimes it's fun to tell your clients, or when you're at home looking in the mirror, do the duck lips in the morning, and just kind of really put that contour bronzer right underneath here. Okay, We're gonna start, we're just gonna work our way forward. And I kind of like doing little teeny motions just like this here, and work them forward. You're gonna work a little bit into the forehead. And it's very, very buildable. Okay, you can see here, we're gonna build that forward here and create a very, very nice glow here on Amy. This is the perfect shade for the summer sun-kissed glow for all skin tones. It is a neutral bronzer, so it's not orange, it's not too brown, it's right in the middle. If you want to get right underneath the cheekbone or the chin, you sure can too. And you always want to work the bronzer up into the forehead ever so slightly so you can kind of create that really nice defined there. Awesome. So now we're going to use one of my absolute favorite summer blushes, and that one is going to be Content here. We're going to use Content. This is one of our Eternity Mineral blushes. And a little bit goes a long way with these guys because it looks like you don't have very much on your brush. But once you apply it here, you'll see what I mean. Remember, blush is going to go right here where your highlight would go. So we're going to start right in the corner. We're going to work our way forward ever so slightly here and get a little bit more and just kind of build that blush right up there. And blush, you never have too much blush, okay? Unless you're going to be like grandma. But this pink is so pretty. And see how I'm applying this blush here. You don't want to go in there really hard and do this. You want to just very lightly dab it in there and kind of create that definition there on Amy. And I'm doing a little bit more so it shows up very nicely on camera there for you. So Amy, let's see here. Now we're just blending that blush out for them. Okay, so model that blush for them. Okay, so next we're going to go in with one of our new shades we have here. It is called Righteous with our KLASS Cosmetics Luxurious Lip Gloss formula. It is the perfect lip gloss for kind of like every skin tone. It's a very, very, very light shade. We're going to apply it here on Amy. She actually hasn't worn this shade yet, and she has about every single one of our shades, so
That's true.
let's see what she looks like here. We're going to grab a disposable one that we grabbed here. We're just going to have our model open up a little bit for us. There we go, and we're going to apply this right on the center of her lips. Awesome. You're just gonna get that gloss all around there. Ooh, she's gonna really like this one. Amy loves her lip glosses. Okay, let's put them together for me, Amy. Okay, you guys, so that is an easy airbrush coverage.